Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Trade the Chain AMA. It is January 15th, and it's Friday. So happy Friday, everybody. We got part of the crew on today. We got Weston Nelson. Everybody knows him for his trading acumen. We got Josh. Everybody's he's known for being the brains. And we got Ryan Gorman, who's the best hair in crypto. Anyway, folks, we do have Q&A open, and also we've digested like we do every week, everybody's emails and DMs and stuff that they send in with certain questions. So this is where we try to go through as much as possible, as well as drop some news, some research on you guys as well. Like I said, the Q&A is open. If you have a question, please drop it in there, and we will answer it. Outside of that, I'm going to take it. Oh, I think we have a special guest trying to join right now. Ooh. This might be DVino, that everybody follows his little nuggets on Slack. He's our head of research. He is. We like to keep him a mystery, so he's not going to be on video.
He's like the Stig on that. What's the name of that show again? I can't remember.
Dennis actually. Dennis is. We're gonna have a superhero picture made up to put in front of there. But thanks for joining, Dennis.
Thank you. Likewise. Finally made it.
So Dennis will give a little bit of current market color that's going on, and I'll hand it over to Ryan and let him sort out when everybody speaks. But thanks for joining us, folks.
All right, great. Thanks for being part of this AMA this week, guys. I just want to remind everyone that all content and information provided by Trade the Chain is strictly for informational purposes only. None of this is investment advice and should not be construed as such. So just to quickly go over what we'll cover during today's AMA, a quick recap of the tech issues from earlier this week, an important upgrade that we made to our back end. We'll go over Weston's trading corner, some weekly research from TheTie, and some nuggets of wisdom from pearls of wisdom from our very own Stig, DVino. All right, so earlier this week, the website went down for a little while because we were experiencing some data issues with a third party that provides data to Trade the Chain. It did not impact sentiment data, and it didn't impact all coins. It only impacted a small list of coins: Bancor, Cosmos, Ocean Protocol, Luna, Ravane, Compound, Arweave, Solana, Bitcoin Gold, BitTorrent, Bytum, Harmony, Ethereum Classic, Cred, Enigma.
Basically, I could explain this really simply.
Bytum, Factum, FTX, AirSwap, Hypercash, and Skackling.
Basically, in the stock market, every stock exchange has a single ticker. You can't have multiple tickers. What happened is in crypto, multiple coins can have the same exact ticker symbol. So Bancor is BNT, but there's some other coins that are BNT. So we were using a third-party provider for pricing, and basically they changed the way that they were returning data. And so when we were calling for Bancor, we were calling for BNT, but they were giving us a different BNT's tokens price. So that has zero to do with sentiment and had nothing to do with sig devs, anything else. It was just price. So that's been fully resolved. The data is being backfilled. Those coins should be live soon. But we put something in place so that can't happen again. So not to worry, it's not going to happen again. It was a one-time thing. Wouldn't have affected how you traded. It only affected the price of assets that you were seeing on the site.
So Josh is clearly better at explaining this than I am. I should have just deferred to him. But yeah, fair enough.
Josh is the one that spent the sleepless nights fixing it.
No, my team did, not me.
I was going to give you some credit saying you and Ben, but you just you cracked the whip.
No, it was Ben. And Ben just gets to vent to me. I just get to listen to the venting.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for being on top of that, guys. It was fixed, rather quickly, or at least resolved in a way that allowed us to bring the site back up. Also, on the back end, we made significant upgrades to the servers so that as the community grows, which you may have noticed some growth this week. I think, what was it, over 100 new users were added in the past 7 days. We want to make sure that all data stays robust. The website itself, where is that coming from? Okay. The website itself stays, I don't know which tab that's on. I have like 3 dozen tabs open. Stays up and running, and there's no downtime experienced by the user.
And
So
just
in
for
order for me to
perspective,
stop hearing this, I'm going to just throw it to Weston's Trading Corner and mute my mic.
But just to add onto what Ryan was saying, we were only running at max 16% usage of our server, but we just like quadrupled the size just in case. Especially when we had the downtime with the market data provider. We want to make sure that we are keeping downtime as minimal as absolutely possible. So we're making upgrades to speed of things, to server size, et cetera, to accommodate everybody on the site and to make sure it works for everyone.
Great, thanks for that, Josh. I couldn't be as because my computer was attacking me.
Ryan, just a note also before we hop over to Weston's trading corner. The price of HEX was not affected. Okay, no, I'm just joking. Is that the tickers that Ryan had mentioned that were removed were hidden from view when we pulled them off the dashboard during that time. Those are currently gone through a 48-hour review, and we will be posting those back up very shortly. We just wanted to make sure that we had affirmation everything was back to normal again and run some tests. So those will be back in plain sight shortly, folks.
Absolutely. And now that I am not being attacked by my computer, I can let you guys know that Weston's Trading Corner this week, it's more sentiment focused, and he's looking at VGX, Sushi, and DOT. Weston, take it away.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, so quite a week, obviously, first of all, in regards to trading, but I'll start with Sushi because that's one I'm in right now. Watching the sentiment, it's up about 13%. I entered yesterday. And probably gonna, keep an eye on it here, but might be closing out in the near term, depending on what happens today. DOT, you said, I believe, second. That has just been on a tear all week. You've probably been seeing this, but it was up, I believe, over 30% yesterday. So I entered another position yesterday for some solid 30% minimum gains, and then we'll be staking that most likely as well. And then last, VGX, probably been watching what's happening with that token taking off. I think I entered maybe 6-7 times this week around an average basis of 81 cents. So I'm very happy, and overall percentage gains is 40-50% on the week, but yeah.
Question: Could you share your screen with the coin screener page and toggle to the top ascending? Just show the folks the tickers you're talking about and kind of what the data is happening now. Ironically, people are going to get sick of me saying this, whether it's on the tubes or here, but VGX is at the top of the screener page right now.
Yep, I am here. Let me pull it up.
Is the market cap still above 200 million?
It's 267 right now.
VGX?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's $1.20. And like Robin stated on his channel, just so everybody knows, we don't get paid by VGX. I'll tout whatever coin is the team of the week.
Can you see?
Yep, you're perfect.
Okay, so here's what I was saying. I'm about to potentially exit my Sushi position. But what did you want me to go through, Alex?
Just show them the coins that you're trading right now in the sentiment data, and so they can see where it's at now and kind of get an idea and sense.
Okay, so yeah, so when you go, I mean, this is the coins tab, guys. This is the main area that you're going to spend your time in for using sentiment analysis and make profitable trades. It starts off by market cap, and then I like to just start with this projected range to see what's going on. I mean, boom, Voyager again. It's like, God, I want to enter another position right now, but that trading volume is just off the roof.
And just real quickly, even though we went through this last week, folks, and I just want to reiterate that we do every week, and particularly from new members, and so it's natural. They say, hey, what's the 1 hour projection range? What do the 3 numbers mean? How does it work? There is our last week's AMA where we actually walk through this whole thing. It's located in the AMA series on our YouTube channel, but Weston will give you a brief real quickly here with VGX as an example.
So it's a range. it's a projected range of the price over the next hour from minus 5.07 to plus 1603 with a mean of 5.48%. And then based on 90% confidence intervals, I think is the simplest way. Josh, I don't know if you'd add anything to that.
Yeah, basically it's with, 90% confidence. This is the minimum amount that we think you could take, the maximum amount we think you could take. And historically, it's created to be about 90 to 92% accurate historically. So there will be times in which the value obviously goes outside of that range. But I think the thing that these guys like to look for, and I think a lot of people do, is when it tilts very strongly one direction or another, it looks at both sentiment data as well as price momentum, and it basically looks, directionally. It's very focused on price momentum, but it's tilted with sentiment data to basically help, try to predict things moving.
Like that's what I'm looking for, is what you said is, if it's tilting one way, or if it get an all green here and the trading volume's up and then the hour change hasn't changed too significantly, that would be one that I'd be looking at for a short-term trade for sure. Like RSR, I think I went on Friday or Saturday and got a nice 15% gain based on that exact analysis.
Also, for some of the new members out there, this is a rolling 1 hour projection. Okay, so this isn't a snapshot of what's going to happen in an hour, because the dashboard's constantly updating. So you're monitoring it through your short-term positions or midterm positions as it goes through the hour to assess where the directional flow is going of sentiment, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, that's really important. Is that like where this data uploaded 4 minutes ago? This changes, I think, every 5 minutes, approximately 5-6 minutes. And you might see something up here, in the projected range, and then it's gone, and you're like, well, wait, what just happened? Well, no, it was that. So keep an eye on it if you entered a position. It's just, you got to stay active. So whether you're going to be entering a short-term position, like 1 to 10 hours, or maybe a swing for a couple days. But there, it's updated Voyager, still looking good. Matic, wow, that's making a move too, obviously, with what's going on today in layer 2 scaling and whatnot. But yeah.
All right, very cool.
Anything else that you wanted to cover? I mean, the sentiment hourly and daily, extremely helpful too.
Yeah, if you have anything for Weston, drop it in the chat. The question and answer box is active, so feel free to just type away and throw it in there. We can all see it.
Absolutely.
85, very bullish.
One of the questions that we get often from members, Weston, you can unshare your screen, I think, is about how to further customize the columns. People are asking for how to add market cap dominance, or make the data that is shown on the dashboard more customized to their trading needs, because there's so much data available that not everyone uses all of the data. A lot of people only use some of it, and it's just everyone has different views on the market and different strategies. So I think this is a good time, perhaps, Alex, to just show people quickly how they can customize their data columns, how they can, add market cap dominance, which is something that I was asked about multiple times this week, and just give a quick tutorial on that, because it's fairly straightforward. You just have to see it,
Yeah, absolutely. Am you guys seeing my screener page, or am I sharing like my life secrets?
Life secrets.
All right.
Nope, just your screener page.
All right, so if you when you go to the screeners page, you might see that there's a few more columns that are open than what you may have, because there's a default setting, and this can all be changed in the upper left under this button. So you click that, and I'll click to I'll reset the default real quick. So if you are new or haven't found this feature, this is what your screen's going to look like. You open up the customizable column. And as Ryan was saying, for instance, market cap dominance. A lot of people like to see what the market cap dominance. I like to see 1 hour change in USD. I like to see 7. I like to see 30, because that helps me pick my sentiment score. Other parts of the world, trade BTC or against BTC, like crypto was originally done. I prefer not to, but then you close it and you can see the added tabs here. So that's all located in the upper left under the customized column section, where you can pick and choose the data that you want displayed for you.
Yeah, it's easy as that. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We're, of course, happy to help either myself, Weston, Trading Nichols, Alex, or anyone else on the team. Before we get to Josh's research, I just want to give a quick shout out to a handful of members. We had so many join this week that we'd be here for a while if I shouted out everyone, but some of the most active ones have been Josh Marriage, Casinopoli, Tony Roberts, and Wojciech Zielinski. So welcome to everyone, not just those four, but welcome to everyone. We're really happy to have you and excited to grow the community with you. Now, Josh, if you have some research you'd like to share, we'd be excited.
Yeah, sure. I think last time, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I talked about when alt season and what data you should look at to understand when you should be trading alts versus Bitcoin. So what I want to cover, did I go over the fact that technological developments don't matter?
I think you did briefly, yes.
Okay, what do I have?
If you'd like to re-go over them, that's fine too.
You
No,
can bring
no,
it up, yeah.
I want to add some interesting spice. I mean, let's talk about institutions and what that means, right? And where institutions are at and what we're seeing. And so, you guys have probably seen in the news, a tremendous amount about institutions coming into the space and institutions leading retail. And so there's actually some interesting data that I have in that regard, which I can plop up in a second. But basically, this time around, right, as opposed to 2017, let me share my screen here, and I got a few different charts for you guys that I'm just kind of YOLOing a little bit for being completely transparent. So what you can see here, you're looking at the 30-day average tweet volume versus price. This is Bitcoin's price is the dotted line. Its tweet volume is the darker line. And what we see is that last time back in 2018, 2017, when Bitcoin hit about $20,000, there were about 80,000 tweets from a 30-day average point of view on Bitcoin. But what we saw is this time around when Bitcoin went up to about 20K again here, there were only about 40,000 tweets. So only about half the number of people were talking about Bitcoin as it surpassed 20,000 for the second time. And what does that mean? What that means is that a lot of the, the movement in Bitcoin was driven by institutions, right? It was driven before retail came in. What we've seen since then is this kind of mass influx of retail. We can see, just as prices skyrocketed, so too have the number of people talking about Bitcoin. We're actually seeing about 70,000 unique Twitter accounts talking about Bitcoin now. And for perspective, back in 2017, the average at its peak was 80,000. So we were basically hitting 2017 peaks. So, we started with all this institutional interest, and now it's kind of being followed up by retail. And so another way that it manifests itself, which is really interesting, is that we're actually seeing more mainstream media mentions of Bitcoin than gold, which is pretty wild because we don't have any recorded history of that. And what we're seeing actually is since the start of the year, there have been 64% more mentions of Bitcoin in the mainstream media and in traditional financial publications than gold. But what's even more crazy, and this is to me is the craziest data point, let me get this up here, is there have been 6 days so far in 2020 where there's more media attention from the mainstream media on Bitcoin. 6 days in 2021, 6 days where there have been more mentions than entire months in 2019 and 2020.
I may have contributed to that a little, just coach.
In one day last week, there were double as many media mentions of Bitcoin than in all of December 2019 in one day from the mainstream media. So we're starting to see this absolute massive, this absolute massive influx of news, attention, media. But something to note is that it's all around Bitcoin at this point. We're starting to see, there are alts that are starting to get some attention and things like that. But unlike 2017, which was, every crypto was running, in 2017, we saw these alts have these massive, skyrockets. Dentacoin went up 100x in 2 weeks in 2017. It literally went from 20 million to $2 billion in 2 weeks. Like, we haven't yet seen that. I know it was ridiculous. But what I think is interesting, and I think what we're starting to see very slowly play out. And I think based off of the, what we shared last week on the when alt season is that, retail is kind of looking at Bitcoin. The price is stagnating. 40,000 seems like it's really expensive. And we've started to see a few alts run. Like we saw Polkadot, as Weston mentioned before. We saw Voyager. We're seeing other assets. And what we believe is going to happen is because there's so much attention on this industry, I think that the folks that are entering the space right now are likely going to be trading and allocating to altcoins at a very fast pace. I don't think that necessarily means that any altcoins have any long-term sustainable value, but I do think that means that we are likely going to see a ton of pops. And when we see a ton of attention on altcoins, the SIG devs have a way larger impact. So when it's alt season, the average impact of a SIG dev is just significantly larger. And I think that given, the amount of attention that's shining on this industry, the fact that Bitcoin is really, quote unquote expensive, I think that's going to lead to a lot of the individual investors coming into the space. And instead of going to Bitcoin, looking to allocate to other assets, at least temporarily, trying to chase, the Lambos and the Moons and the 100x returns. And so I think it's worth keeping an eye out for alts because I do think we will have some level of alt season again. I do not think any institutions are buying alts at all. Like
some are.
What do you think about the CME Ethereum?
Yeah, but it's futures. It's just ETH. Maybe there's a little bit of ETH. I mean,
they're not physically deliverable, right? They're deliverable in cash, so I don't think they have any actual impact on.
They're not physically deliverable. But I've talked to multiple $500+ billion asset managers in the last week. None of them are buying anything other than Bitcoin. The large institutions are just buying Bitcoin. They're long-term investors. Maybe they're buying a little bit of ETH, maybe, or they're like, but they're not. Your Litecoin bags are not getting bought by a big hedge fund.
Damn it!
Your Cardano bags are not. Your Tezos is not. Your Polkadot is not. So
my VGX bags, come on, my VGX bags got to get bought up.
They're not, but I do think that retail will drive the altcoin rally. It's not going to be institutional at all.
Josh, so you mentioned that retail investors are, buying altcoins because Bitcoin's price is so high. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence that retail investors who are used to buying like a whole share of stock or used to owning a whole unit of something, the reason that they're buying altcoins is because mentally they're just more affordable and they feel like they have more of a stake in it than owning 0.00345 of a Bitcoin, right? So that absolutely makes sense because you don't see too many retail investors buying Berkshire Hathaway stock, but they'll scoop up Apple and Amazon and Google, Alphabet rather.
That's why they have BERK-B, so that because as opposed to the A shares, so that it's more quote unquote affordable.
Fair enough.
One of the things I want to mention, folks, is that Josh brought up SIG dev alerts and exchanges and how paramount that is, especially with the price action impact during the course of a heightened alt season. We've already circulated our last previous percentage gains per SIG dev alerts per exchange. We will recirculate that within the community again, as well as when we get a new one, we will issue that one as well. And basically what that's showing is the exchanges from the most percentage gains on SIG dev alerts to the bottom.
I have all the data. I can pull it up.
We don't have to look at it right now. I mean, we can share it. We can share it another time, Josh. Tony Roberts just asked a great question, and I think Weston can handle here. He, for those who haven't seen it, he because he's new to trading, and all the lingo is new to him. He wants to know which exchange or programs we use to execute trades in the U.S. And also if there's a resource page that has these tutorials. Remember that everything Weston's about to tell you is not an endorsement of a specific platform or product. This is just what we use on our own. So if there's downtime and a trade doesn't work out or whatever, that's we didn't recommend this to you. We're just telling you what we use on a daily basis because we're susceptible to these downtimes as well. That happen.
I use Coinbase and it goes down to me all the time. So
number go up, Coinbase go down. I love saying it. But Weston, please tell us how you do this.
That's a great question, Tony, and I think that's a very common one for someone new to the space. So to answer your question, every jurisdiction has different rules and regulations. So you're in the USA. I'm in the USA as well. I'm out of the Minneapolis metro area. So if you're going to use a centralized exchange, I really like Kraken. I like Bittrex, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase if I have to, but I try to not, just because of all the issues, but I do use it. Those are probably the ones that come to mind. I mean, yeah, the other one, I mean, Binance.us, I've heard of so many issues, people trying to get registered lately.
What about
you know,
Voyager? Do you use Voyager? Weston?
oh yeah, of course, Voyager. But that's a brokerage. But yes, Voyager hands down, and then Celsius as a long-term wallet. You know, Voyager and Celsius, of course, but just exchanges. And then for a lot of these things that you're going to get access to, you're going to want to be on a decentralized exchange, such as SushiSwap, Uniswap. These are the big places to get access to things. So like when you get an alert, you can go right to Uniswap, connect to your browser-based wallet, and then place a trade and get in before others and then profit.
We have documentation for that and how that whole process works.
Did you say, do we?
Yes.
I believe we do. I can double check on that, and I think we do. Yes, in the member resource page, but we can double check on that and make sure.
We're in the middle of building out the member resource page.
Yeah, that falls on me. I'm going to put my hand up on that. We actually, Ryan, do I have a minute to speak about that for a second?
Did that help, Tony's, or did I answer that question?
All right, I got like a bunch of screens in front of me. I got a couple things to mention. Okay, I'll go with the least exciting stuff to the most exciting stuff. One is, one is the members resource portal is really going to be robust. I have been spending a lot of time on this, putting as much information into it as possible, and for all you guys to use. One of the things that we're going to be doing is since our day job is working in crypto, that's what we do. We're not like YouTubers, even though you see us on YouTube or any of that stuff. That's not our job. Our job is actually working in cryptos for companies. We're going to put links to places, whether it's wallets, exchanges, or any of that stuff, that those links are trusted, okay? Those links are put in by us. And the reason we're gonna do this is because we had a member of the family here at TTC fall victim to a scam, and which by clicking through to a link or downloading a link, and it cost that person $10,000, okay? I don't want people falling to that stuff. And as much as we think we're all individually the smartest person in the world, except with me, I know I'm pretty much one of the bottom rung people. Anybody can fall for this. And this particular member was actually very vigilant about the way they handled stuff, and still fell, and they got their crypto, 10 grand worth, taken away from them, stolen this thing. So we're going to put links in that are going to be trusted links. And if there is a link that you're looking for, unless it's a really crappy company that we don't know, because we deal with the executive teams at a lot of companies, we will put it in there for you to feel safe about clicking on. Outside of that, always go to the official homepage of a company that you want to do business with. That being said, I'm going to say I want to do some breaking news real quick, even though this is an AMA. I just want to say, folks, because it's important. There was a little news that came out earlier about Voyager stock being halted on exchanges. Okay, there was a lot of texting going on. People were like, "Whoa, what's up?" Because we all taking the VGX rocket right now. I will say I just got a message from Steve Ehrlich, the CEO of Voyager. He's given me the press release which states why that stock was halted. It was not a bad thing. It's for a good thing, and it's public distribution as of right now. I also have him joining Ryan and myself on today's episode of Trade the Chain to talk about it, okay? But it's good news. So we're going to take that right after the AMA and put that out this afternoon. VGX to the moon. That's all I had to say. Go ahead, guys.
All right, cool. So one platform that I generally, and this is just my own preference, that I generally avoid buying crypto on, is Robinhood, because you don't actually own the crypto that you have on Robinhood, right? You own exposure to it, but you can't take that Bitcoin or that ETH or whatever else that you can buy on Robinhood and move it into a wallet and take it somewhere else, like you can with pretty much every other platform that, you know, Weston has talked about, Alex talked about, that Josh loves. So, I mean, if you just want exposure to crypto, I guess Robinhood is fine. But if you want to actually have physical crypto, such as it were, you might want to look elsewhere.
PayPal too.
I want to add to that real quick. Because a lot of people who are active traders, that's exactly correct in as far as exposure to Bitcoin or crypto is concerned. But it is okay. Listen, if you're a novice and you can't work a ledger and you can't work how to work a Voyager or Coinbase account or any of that stuff, and you really want it bad, it's okay to go get your exposure Robinhood if you're just looking to click the button. That's fine. Just know that you won't be able to take it off the platform. When you sell it, and that's all.
And the bad thing is, just to keep in mind, is you have to pay capital gains tax. So for example, if you bought a Bitcoin, it went up from 10 to 40,000, and then all of a sudden you wanted on a different platform, you actually have to sell the Bitcoin. You'd have $30,000 in taxable gains, and then you'd have to buy it back. So just thing to keep in mind. You always have to pay your taxes anyways, but.
Not fun.
Yeah. Do we have anything else that we oh yeah, Dennis, what are you looking at right now? Just a few pearls of wisdom for the
again, everybody, this is DVino. I will tell you that DVino is the one who drops the golden nuggets of commentary into the specific channel that we created for him, as well as the daily research nugget reports that we put out, commentary that we put out. I will give you a hint. DVino's tweets, if you don't follow Trade the Chain on Twitter, it's the same exact pieces of information he's putting in the research channel in Slack. These little nuggets are like the second best thing to the SIG Dev alerts. They're hidden. You read what he says, and we often track it just to prove to ourselves that DVino is worth the really big bucks that we pay him to be
By
here.
the way, before we even go into that, the breaking news in the CoinLab Mt. Gox lawsuit, creditors are now going to be able to claim 90% of the Bitcoin they're owed from Mt. Gox. That is a giant fucking number. That could be huge sell pressure on Bitcoin.
That is interesting. Wow, that's really interesting. I'm curious to see what the list of creditors are because that will have some impact to the market.
There are a couple of funds that were just set up. Remember, there was that hedge fund that raised like $100 million, whatever, just set up to make claims, and they were buying those claims for pennies on the dollar.
I believe even Cerberus or Fortress got into that mix as well, buying it for pennies on the dollar. There's some predatorial, so it sounds very bad, but that's what they call them sometimes. But it's predatorial funds that were set up to basically maximize this opportunity. We'll keep everybody informed of this. I'm sure DVino will have something to say about it once that list is released and we see what's going on. Dennis, off to you, my man. What are we looking at in the markets right now?
First of all, Josh, completely agree. Institutionals do not care about anything else apart from Bitcoin, but it is worth remembering that about 150,000 Bitcoin are locked on Ethereum, and all that Bitcoin was minted at price of about 14,000. We're now at $35,000. So the amount of Bitcoin sloshing around DeFi has tripled. That's why institutional guys don't need to buy, DeFi and all that altcoins. The amount of money that's being pumped around is tripled. So go with the flow.
Cool. All right. If you want to see more of Dennis's insights, I mean, he's in just about every news outlet every week as well. So most of the news you're reading on Forbes, CoinDesk, Bloomberg, elsewhere, Cointelegraph, Decrypt, he's usually quoted in there at least a few times a week as well. So we should start sharing those as well, Dennis. The news commentary you provide to the news.
Yes, we should.
Also, for those that don't know, Dennis and Sunil are in London. They are 6 hours ahead of where I am in Central Standard Time, in case anybody didn't know that.
Drinking scotches right now.
I mean, I'm drinking a scotch at 12:48 in the afternoon.
Okay, so we've answered the question from Tony. Anybody else have any questions we got in the queue?
Yeah, and Tony, I can follow up on that too. Just throw it in the open chat if you got more, but it's good.
All right, cool. Thanks everyone for joining our weekly AMA, and we'll see you later this afternoon on Trade the Chain.
We'll have Steve Ehrlich on, talk about today's news.
It's going to be fun. Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.